So now we can get on with styling the actual loop carousel or the loop grid, whichever one you wanted to use. Now you will notice I have added a little bit of styling, some more elements, just because you guys don't need to watch me drag and edit headings and texts and background colors at every corner of this website build, right? You already know how to do that. So let's just stick to teaching the stuff that is going to be really valuable. So again, you guys can easily replicate what we have done here. I've also made these a little bit wider. So I've actually made these columns, instead of 300, I've made them 400, and they're not columns, they're containers. And I've just made that full width. So that looks a little bit better. I tweaked the templates here just slightly. I've added the services, the post terms there, which I can show you. And again, just added a few background colors, a bit of extra padding, etc, etc. So of course, when you're doing the post terms, just make sure that you select categories as your taxonomy. That is the category that you want to use. And, you know, style it however you want it to look. You can add in any of those custom fields that you add into your case studies or properties or rentals or absolutely anything, and then you can literally display them however you want on any kind of loop grid or loop carousel. So really cool. That's probably just my real geeky side coming out there, because I'm sure most people wouldn't find that cool, but there you go. I am a geek, what can I say? So yeah, this isn't quite showing up. I'm not sure why. I think maybe if we just come along to this carousel and maybe just switch between the queries, that will come back. We can change that back to case studies, and there we go. So it's there. So yeah, this is the finished project, the finished product. Now, of course, we just want to style and edit the actual loop grid. So let's actually go ahead and do that now. And again, there is nothing here that you guys probably aren't familiar with, apart from the fact that we are looping using our template here. So we've now set this template. You will also see this underneath your theme builder now. If you go to your theme builder, you will see under your loop items that you have this one loop item. Now we can use that for loop carousels, we can use that for loop grids, we can use that for anything now. So let's say that we wanted to this time use a loop carousel. Again, you have that template already done, that loop template. All you literally need to do now is to just select it. So let's just type in loop up here. Select it and it will start displaying through that carousel. It is as simple as that. Of course, we need to set the query there for case studies, and it's going to then dynamically populate that template into a carousel or into a grid, whichever one you want. And you can see the carousel just starts flicking and moving. Now, of course, we only have 3 case studies, so as we added more, it could flick through more. You can offset it, you can change all kinds of stuff. So again, really cool stuff. But yeah, let me just quickly finish off this with you. So, I mean, I also think this looks quite cool with a 2-column layout like this. Of course, when we have more projects, that is obviously going to make this look prettier, because it looks a bit odd with just 3. But that is, of course, you get the idea. You can be very creative with how you want to display this. I'm going to leave it as 3 simply because we only have 3. Let's say that we wanted to run this over 3 rows. So another set of 3 and another set of 3. We could select the items per page of 3. So now, just to fix this equal height column, let's go ahead and select equal height, and that will then fix that. You, of course, can do all kinds of different effects. You can add it to masonry if you wanted to change how you wanted this to look again. I mean, if you wanted to change the orders, if you wanted to, you know, include, exclude any particular things, then you can do that here with complete control. So there really is a ton of different stuff that you can do. If you wanted to edit the column gaps, the row gaps, as we started adding more rows, to make it look however you want. So again, just another example of how powerful these loop carousels are, and you can get as creative as you want with these loop templates to look however you want. So one last thing that I want to just bring this section to an end, our case studies page to an end, and that is to just drop in a contact us section, and then just add some animation to this page, just to have some sliding intro animation and entrance animations and stuff like that. So let me first come back to our homepage, because if you remember, we already have a contact us section. We can just save that as a template, and then I'm just going to paste that into our case studies page. So we have this contact us section. Let's come along and save this. So we can now save this as a template, contact us section, save. Make sure I hadn't saved that already. I haven't, that is okay. I thought for a minute then I may have already saved it. Let's go ahead and publish this and then refresh this page. And then we're just going to import that section in. So we're literally going to select our library, my templates, and then contact us section, insert, and then apply the override. And we get our contact us section. So now we are looking very nice and cool. One thing I am going to do is just add a little bit more padding to the top and bottom there, maybe 100, and maybe at the bottom 120, and that is looking good. I'm happy with that. So yes, that is pretty much it. Now we can add just a few animations. If you're confident with animations, you know how to do that, then you don't need to carry on watching the rest of this lesson. But I'm just going to apply some animations with some delays, some offset entrance delays to each of these. So the first one, I'm going to come to advanced and then to motion effects. We're going to go entrance animation, maybe fade in down, no, fade in up. Let's go with a fade in up. And then I'm going to select normal. In fact, I might select fast. And then I'm not going to set a delay, but for this one, when we select this one, let's come to advanced, then to motion effects, animation, fade up. And then I'm going to select fast. And then this time I'm going to add a 300 millisecond delay. And then the last one, I'm going to come to advanced, motion effects, entrance animation, fade in up, fast, and make this one 600 milliseconds. So that there is going to be a slight delay as we move down the screen. So now with this section, we could have this all slide in to the right. Now, of course, we could do each element slide in with a delay. That would actually look pretty cool. So let's do that now. So the case studies subheading here, I'm going to come down to the motion effects. I'm going to do an entrance fade in left. And then I'm going to do fast. I'm going to leave that one as normal, no delay. And then for the heading, let's come to advanced motion effects. Let's do entrance animation, fade in left, normal, and then a 200 millisecond. And then the same with the bottom one with a 400 millisecond. So entrance, fade in left, fast. No, not fast. It was normal. This one, wasn't it? And 400. So again, we could also have this whole loop carousel, or loop grid, should I say, fade in. So we can do that. I'll just do that over, apply that entrance animation to the container. And then we can come to motion effects. We can come to fade in. We can just do fade in so it looks like that. That is fine. And then lastly, maybe we could do this white background section. Advanced motion effects. We could perhaps do, oh, not a transform. We could, of course, do different scroll effects and stuff as well. But I'm not going to apply scroll effects to this one or mouse effects. Just going to stick with the entrance animations. And this one we could do fade in down, or even we could do fade into from the right, like that. So that is okay. I'm going to go ahead now and select publish. Then we can take a look, see what this looks like. So we can see that looks cool. We can see that looks cool. We can see that looks cool. So again, these aren't displaying correctly at the minute, but that's just a glitch. Of course, that is going to fix itself because we've already set that as a cover. but for some reason under this preview it's not. But we know that that is set and configured correctly. So that is a really cool looking page, and just another few different design quirks and things that you can do to really make your page stand out. And of course the loop grid, which is, as you know, super cool anyway. So that is this page taken care of. In the next lesson, or in the next section, we're going to be adding a archive template for each of our categories. So for our e-commerce, for our services, and for our blogs. And I'll also show you a way where, let's say that you didn't want to build those categories. What you may want to do is have just one case studies page. You may actually want to apply your different sections here. So you could apply it to your query for your loop grid or your loop carousel, whichever you wanted. You could query that so that it only displays your e-commerce on a carousel, and then it's going to show all of the e-commerce, and then below that you might have another section for blogs where the loop grid is just going to showcase all of the blogs. And you could then, instead of having different category pages, showcase all of your different categories ordered specifically on your case studies page. So lots of different ways that you could go about doing that. If you wanted to display all case studies on one page like this, then you can do it like this. If you wanted to use archive templates to display, you can. Or, like I said, I'll show you how we can also just redirect those category pages back to your case studies page, which would showcase maybe all of the different specified categories on there as well. So lots of cool stuff coming up, and I'll see you all in the next lesson.